Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dal. In patch 9.2, we'll finally be getting our tier sets and double legendaries, which will be usable in dungeons and raids, but also in PvP. And it's safe to say that we're pretty big fans of WoW PvP, with so many 5v5 1v1 duels that we host. Currently, a lot of players are wondering which class has the most PvP potential in the next big update. Since we are still in the testing phase of patch 9.2, it's impossible to tell what is going to be meta, what is going to be good. But we can take a look at how the tier sets are going to impact on their performance, as well as which double legendaries are looking to give them the biggest gains. So let's take a look at how our classes are looking to evolve heading into patch 9.2 before any of the class tuning has been done just yet. But right before that, most of you guys watching these videos are still not subscribed, and if you're watching these videos anyway, you might as well subscribe as well as hit the bell, especially if you enjoy discussion videos like these, regular patch 9.2 updates, or future expansion announcements. Starting with the Death Knight, their tier sets are looking to reinforce established strengths. While the Frost DK 2-piece tier set change that was planned was going to be amazing for PvP, the current version of the tier set does offer him better cleave capability, which some of the Death Knights are pretty good at currently. For the Unholy Death Knight, the tier set bolsters the damage of your pets in a very passive way, but also provides free access to the Soul Reaper Execute, and normally Soul Reaper is not great for PvP. The enemy player is going to see that execute damage from a mile away. It's way too predictable, but getting it for free without having to talent into it is a bonus. And together with the recent conduit changes for Unholy, buffing the toolkit overall, it's looking pretty good heading into patch 9.2 for PvP. While Blood DK is a very niche playstyle for player versus player content, it is getting some buffs where there could be some synergy in 9.2. The way that double legendaries work in patch 9.2, you'll have access to any legendary you want plus your Covenant legendary for free. This means that picking the right Covenant with the best legendary suited for PvP is going to be that much more important in the next build. Currently for Death Knights, the only Covenant that looks really good with a Lego is the Necrolord, which ends up being your best Covenant for PvP anyway. There is a small chance that other Covenants might shine in the future if they get a little bit more tuning that is PvP specific. When it comes to Demon Hunters, the Havoc tier set is so good for PvP. Even if you don't run the cooldown reduction of Metamorphosis, the damage buff for Blade Dance and Chaos Strike is so good. The tier set also works whenever you enter meta and you get the buffed version of the Death Sweep and Annihilate. Vengeance Demon Hunter is a bit niche in PvP, but maybe you can make a Fell Devastation playstyle with the next tier set. As for the legendaries, none of the Covenant Legos are really super synergetic for Demon Hunters in PvP. You can get more Immolation Aura uptime if you play Night Fae, as well as some Unbound Chaos synergy, or you can play Necrolord, which is the current popular build, and gain a little bit extra defensiveness with the Necrolord legendary. For the Druids, the Feral tier set is so good, especially invest into the 4-piece that gives you an incredibly big bleed. For the Boomy tier set, the 4-piece does synergize with your burst since it does cut the cost of Star Surge. The Rested Druid tier set helps you heal better, but it doesn't really help you do more damage, although with the recent buffs to the Restoration Druid in damage and healing and talents, there might be more synergies going forward. And the Guardian Druid tier set just plays into that Incarnation playstyle, giving you a heal while letting you do more damage. Guardian is actually one tank that's kind of popular in PvP. In RPGs where you have to defend a base or hold objectives, Guardian Druid tier set will play into that pretty well. As for the double Legos, currently Necrolord is the most popular Covenant for Druids in PvP. That will likely change in patch 9.2 because their legendary is not that great. However, with the Kyrian legendary, when you bind to another player, depending on their Covenant, you both get stats. So if you bind yourself with a Necrolord, you both get versatility. That versatility number is doubled whenever you use your Kyrian Covenant ability, and versatility is like the best stat for PvP. Then you have the Night Fae, where you take the Convoke ability and cut its cooldown in half, with some of its power lost, but for the most part, it is still a very beefy cooldown nonetheless. For Hunters, all 3 specs got some good tier sets, with Marksman gaining quite a lot of big damage for aim shots and rapid fire. Even Survival has potential with its grenade-heavy gameplay, and Beastmaster tier set might not be that bad and usable in PvP. As for your legendary choice, most hunters run a defensive legendary baseline, so getting a little bit of offense from the Covenants is going to be a priority. Currently, the Necrolord legendary, with the Chakram applying explosive shot on the target, offers you the most damage in PvP, but you might be able to play Venthyr for the extra bleed damage every time you land a kill shot. And just like the class of Hunter, the Mage tier sets are all looking pretty good. Depending on the spec, you might just run the 2-piece like Arcane, or go all the way into the 4-piece as Frost and Fire. Where the mage is different from the hunter is in its legendary covenant choices. As a Venthyr, you'll get the Dispel protection on your mirrors and potentially more uses of them throughout PvP. As a Night Fae, you get to move while casting Shifting Power, as well as accumulating some secondary stats. As a Necrolord, you get a ramp every time you cast your filler abilities as all 3 specs. In PvP specifically, there's actually synergies between Frostbolt, Fireball, and Arcane Blast. And as a Kyrian, you just get more damage. I think the mage has the most choices of the different covenants they can play with their Legos in PvP. The next class on the list is the Monk, and their 2-piece tier set by itself is already amazing, but there's always potential to use the 4-piece tier set for even more bursty damage. The Mystery tier set feels a little weird right now, and kind of lacking currently for PvP. And Brewmaster is definitely niche for PvP, but the tier set does offer more damage on Keg Smash, which could potentially be good. For their Covenant Legos, there isn't too many good options. I think a lot of monks will just default to playing Necrolord. The random procs of BDB could be pretty good for a random burst of PvP as a Windwalker, and might be pretty good for a random burst of healing as a Mistweaver. Next, we have the Paladins. For Retribution, I wish I could say good stuff about their tier set, but currently it is still bugged. It's been bugged since the beginning of patch 9.2. So maybe it'll get changed, or maybe it'll get bug fixed, where it can actually be kind of okay. The Holy Paladin tier set, on the other hand, gives him more usage of Avenging Wrath. And unlike Retribution, this tier set is amazing. There's even PvP talents that might make the Light of Dawn synergy a little bit more applicable. While Protection Paladins are actually kind of popular in arenas, their tier set is maybe going to give them more resources through Judgments, but that's really about it. As for the legendaries, Paladins have some deadly combos. First of all, the Kyrian. It's going to give you more resources as all 3 specs, with some more healing, utility from Silence for Prot, as well as more damage for Retribution. The Necrolord offers Retribution massive damage through the bonus Divine Storm, and right now in PTR it's really effective. This Necrolord gameplay actually can synergize with Holy as well, since you get free buffed versions of Light of Dawn, which plays into your tier set. And then there's Night Fae, which is really cheesy, but the fact that you can have this Lego and another class Lego of your choice, it actually makes it kind of viable. For the class of Priest, we'll start with the Holy Priest. Their tier set is kind of buggy. They only recently got it to kind of work with the cooldown reduction, but that CDR does not work on Chastise, and if it does, then it could have some big potential in PvP. The Disc tier set does have some synergy with powered Radiance builds, and could give the Priest a little bit of burst healing or burst damage through Penance. And for Shadow, their tier set actually does quite a bit of damage in PvE, and I think it will do a lot of damage in PvP, unless we see some nerfs in the future. As for the Legos, the Necrolord for Shadow is gonna be amazing. It's currently what they use right now to do the most amount of damage. As a Healing Priest, however, Venthyr and Night Fae might be your 2 best options, with the extra synergy of the utilities that come with Night Fae, or maybe the extra healing suppression that comes with Venthyr. Just like the Mage and the Hunter, the Rogue tier sets are also quite good for all 3 specs, especially for Subtlety and Assassination, which are the more popular playstyles in PvP. As for the double Legos, there is only huge value from the Kyrian Covenant that offers a little bit of extra burst from the Kyrian legendary synergy. Technically, you could make Venthyr work. It does provide you a lot of versatility, which is amazing in PvP, and also shorter cooldown on your Venthyr ability for more burst opportunities. For Shaman, starting with Enhancement, you do get more Ghost Tools, which means more Maelstrom generation, which actually has some defensive play for you, as Maelstrom does empower the damage and healing of your abilities, making them instant cast the more Maelstrom you have, so more Ghost Tools does mean more Maelstrom generation. For Elemental Shaman, you do get more damage on Lava Burst, and Lava Burst damage is really good. A great portion of your burst comes from Lava Burst as well. For Restoration Shaman, this is where we get the nuttiest tier set of them all. The rest of the tier set reduces the cooldown of totems whenever you get chain heal crits, which there's some synergy to make them crit more often within PvP. This works for every totem in the game, whether it is your plain normal totems or PvP specific totems. It can have cooldown reduction on even some of your PvP totems as well. As for the double Legos, they don't really have too many great options. There is some cooldown reduction as a Night Fae, which might be pretty good. There is some cooldown reduction synergy as a Venthyr, which could be pretty decent. Maybe you will play the Necrolord legendary for more haste, but none of them are really super well situated for PvP. For Demonology Warlocks, the extra doggos and extra imps is quite a bit of a damage increase overall. But for the Destruction Warlocks, the 2-piece tier set will let you line up 2 Chaos Bolts back to back, which could be extremely deadly in the burst meta of PvP. And while Affliction tier set does offer damage through Malefic Rapture, it would play a little bit better if you didn't get it proccing from Shadow Bolts, because you don't ever press Shadow Bolt in PvP. Or Drain Soul. In fact, you don't really cast anything except for maybe Unstable Affliction and Fear. It will be better if maybe they could change the tier set so it functions off of Drain Life, which does have some PvP capability for Affliction Warlocks currently. And as for your Covenant Legos, I think the Necrolord is the best choice forward. Unless you're Affliction, the damage amp on the Necrolord for Demonology and Destruction is way too good currently in PvP, and it's quite popular. The second best option is the Night Fae, as it does give you a little bit of haste, a little bit of crit, with the more targets that you affect with your Night Fae dot. And finally, the Warrior. For the Arms Warrior, their tier set is just gonna buff their damage without much thought put into it. It's just really passive, and it's really good. The Fury tier set is looking to amp up their sustained damage through Raging Blows, but actually also buffs their burst damage a little bit. If you play the talent of Reckless Abandon, that buff to Raging Blow also applies to the modified version of that Raging Blow when Reckless Abandon is active. And there's even synergy with a 4-piece bonus. If you are playing Reckless Abandon and you get the 4-piece tier set proc for Recklesses, you get a bunch of Rage all at once, which means more uses of Rampage, which could make Slaughterhouse a bit better of a PvP talent, and overall more damage output for your Fury Warrior. Then there's Protection, and while not really a popular PvP spec, it can actually do a lot of damage with its Shield Slam. There's a lot of talents where you can synergize together for a big crit Shield Slam that actually does like half of someone's health bar in a single global. Then there's the Covenant Lego choices, and I think Carrion is the only good one. It gives you that extra crit damage from your Spear of Bastion and slightly longer duration so you can pin the enemy in place so they can't run anywhere. But technically, the other ones could work pretty okay. It's just the other Covenant legendaries for the Venthyr, Night Fae, and even the Necrolord are better set up for PvE content rather than PvP, but those Covenants also not terrible for arenas and battlegrounds either. And that's going to be our list on how every single class is going to be impacted so far by the tier sets and legendaries. And there's a lot more that Blizzard could do going forward, like do the class tunings as well as PvP talents to try to even out all the class performance within the next patch. Otherwise, that's gonna be my video. Thank you guys so much for checking it out. I do hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts. Which class do you think is gonna gain the biggest gains in patch 9.2 so far? Or what other updates should Blizzard add in the future to buff and nerf certain class tier sets or Covenant legendaries in order to function better for PvP? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you guys enjoyed this video or found it informative, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. I would very much appreciate it. And as per usual, if you guys want to join our Discord, link is in the description. Join our Discord, become part of the community. That's where all the other boys hang out at. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. And as always, I'll see all of you in the next one.